Welcome back, everybody. If you're here, you probably saw my last video about the good things in Watch Dogs Legion. And like I said in that video, there was going to be a part 2 about the bad things. So here we are. If you haven't seen the video about the good things yet, I'd recommend checking it out. It will help give some context to some of my points here. And as always, if you've got something to add or you disagree with anything, please go ahead, leave a comment, let me know. That's what they're there for. I think that's pretty much it, so let's start the video. Alright, first we'll start with fundamentals. Does the game run well? Nope. No, it really doesn't. Look, it's come a long way since it first released. The game basically didn't run when it first released. It's certainly smoother than it used to be. But you know, no matter how many decorations you put on a cake, it's still a cake. So optimization, yeah, it's not very good. We're talking game crashes, frame drops, like a lot, and constant stuttering. Along with the performance of the game, the performance of the AI in the game is also less than desirable. As I'm showing you right now, I have many clips of AI walking into walls, walking in circles, jumping off of buildings, running in front of cars. Oh my god, when the game first came out, civilians would just jump in front of your car like there was no tomorrow and they just had to die. It was crazy. It seems to have been reduced, but it's still insane. Another fundamental is driving. So how good is the driving? Well, have you ever tried to ride a mountain bike on thin ice while children throw fruit at your tires? Because that is essentially the driving. If that sounds good to you, buy the game right now. If it doesn't, maybe wait till the sale. Not only is the camera not that good while you're driving, but for some reason, sometimes it just like freezes, like it gets stuck and you can't look left or right. And to fix it, you have to look behind you and then look forward again. And now your camera's free to move. It's really strange. It took me a while to figure it out, but once I noticed it, it was pretty annoying. I'm actually not sure if it's fixed or not, and to be honest, I'm not really bothered to open the game just to check this. But there was a issue where if you looked at a car from the front, its horn was excruciatingly loud and would just blow your eardrums out. But if you looked at it from behind, it was really quiet. Which I don't think car horns are quite like that in real life. I'm not sure if that one's been fixed. Maybe someone can let me know down below.
Farnsworth? The usual, sir.
Speaking of bugs, you already know where I'm going with this, don't you? I don't think I could list half the bugs in the game. That's how many there are. There were more. There is less now, yet I still don't think I could list them entirely. Unfortunately, Ubisoft has a bit of a reputation with bugs, and well, this game kind of just follows the trend. Alright, let me take a drink of water before I do this. Let me list off some bugs for you. This is off the top of my head. I haven't written these down or anything. I'm literally just going from memory. Invisible enemies, invisible NPCs, teleporting NPCs, getting stuck on foot, getting stuck in a vehicle, getting stuck in your menu, cars randomly exploding, NPCs flying all over the screen, the car camera glitch I already mentioned, missions not completing, as well as like a million other ways you can get soft-locked, enemies teleporting or phasing out of their cars, shooting through walls, they can see you through walls, drones would fly through walls. I think you get my point. There's a very large list of bugs, some minor, some major, some game breaking, some fixed, some not fixed. If I were to go into the bugs like that, we would be here all day, the video would be 3 hours long. So let's leave it at, the game is still very, very buggy. It has improved, but it's still very buggy. Oh, I forgot the save glitch one. Sometimes your save would just corrupt and you lost it. Sorry, that was the last one. God, we're not even out of the fundamentals yet. Right, so next is the mission design, which is obviously the core of the game. That's everything you do pretty much. And well, they're pretty repetitive, to be frank. Another thing Ubisoft is known for is their repetitive missions, like escort missions and just constant go here, pick up that, do this missions. It's, you know, it's no secret. And it kind of follows through. It's not maybe as bad as some of the Assassin's Creed games and stuff, but it's definitely still there. And of course, with the missions comes the story. And don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will say it's okay. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. I'd say it's pretty middle of the road. I said in my good video, Bagley is definitely one of the best parts of it. The bad parts of it, it's quite dull sometimes. For a lot of it, it's just very mundane. You're just doing tasks, really, just to pad out the game time. And you know, it's not like they're just slightly extending a few missions here and there or whatever. It's the fact that you can really tell that they are dragging the game time out. And what of course comes hand in hand with this is the sort of side objectives you can do, such as like the collectibles, stuff like that. They are, again, just like most games, especially Ubisoft games, just added in clearly an afterthought. A lot of games do it right, where it's somewhat interesting or gives you some motivation to want to collect everything, or at least a lot of it. But this game, it's just, who cares? There's no reason to want to go and pick up all these logs and whatever, which really is quite disappointing, because, you know, it's a game all about being a sort of agent or a hacker, and the best thing you can do going around the city is just finding little logs of people talking and stuff. Like, it's so underwhelming. The game also requires you to use the Spiderbot, like an insane amount of the game. For some reason, like, I get it's cool and all, like, it's a little spider you can control and it runs around and you can electrocute people with it and stuff. But God, they went overboard with how much it is required. It's kind of silly, really, because you only have one equipment slot, and most of the time you're going to need to have your Spiderbot in there because you will need it. You don't have a choice. So, like, if you want to run around and go invisible, you can, but only half the time, because the other half the time you need to have the Spiderbot on you. And then you're going to have to do a bunch of mini games with it. I just think, in my opinion, they just overused it too much. I don't know why it's so forced. Now, I personally am a big fan of RPGs like Destiny, Borderlands, those sort of games, largely because they have so many, let's say, items that you can go around, collect. For example, let's say you want one specific gun, a really good version of it with a really nice sight on it and everything like that, so you could use it and have it for a long time. For this game, they sort of took that idea and applied it to actual NPCs, because of course you recruit your NPCs and they can have all these different perks and stuff. So it's almost like in these RPGs where you find guns, you can essentially farm for people. And I thought that was a very cool idea. I like the idea of, you know, going for a hitman and being like, oh, this one's not that good, I'll go for a different one. And then the next one I get is really good and you use him for a long time. But unfortunately, it's kind of as wide as an ocean, but as deep as a bathtub. Because sure, there's a lot of different types of NPCs you can recruit, but when it comes to, say, hitmen, there's a pool of like, I don't know, half a dozen perks maybe or something. So there's not really a lot of variety that you even need to go for. That one's a very personal issue with the game. Some of you might actually like that most of the hitmen and spies and stuff are all pretty much identical to each other, and I totally get that. But yeah, they definitely didn't hit that RPG mark, which is what they were kind of trying to introduce. To be honest, I wasn't really sure where to fit in this next part in the video. Should I put it with the missions? Or look, it's really its own thing. And that is something a lot of you probably know. The game is dead. It's no longer getting updates. They've explicitly stated, that's it. It's done. So, yeah, all those bugs I talked about, they won't get fixed. The issues with stories and stuff, not getting improved. So obviously, any game that's publicly been stated as no longer going to be updated loses a lot of points in its longevity. So definitely factor that in if you're thinking of buying the game. I knew this video was going to be a bit longer than the good one, so really no surprise there, but we're only about halfway through. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll start just smashing through them. For online, there's no point in me even trying to explain why it's bad. It's just god-awful. That's it. That's all I can say. I actually have a video on it if you want to watch it, but all I need to tell you is that it's literally not even worth playing. Really unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Another thing to do with the RPG elements is enemies have like health bars now, and ranks, and armor. So you could shoot someone in the head 3 or 4 times and they're still going to come at you. That's really a preference thing. To me, that's kind of dumb. That's kind of like an RPG game mechanic. I just don't really think it fits in this game. Some other things that aren't quite realistic. If you do a takedown on someone, for example, let's say you walk up to someone, grab their arm, and then shoot them 3 times, that reloads your gun. I don't know how shooting bullets out of your gun reloads your gun, but okay. And secondly, just like a certain Overwatch character, if you do a combat roll, it also reloads your gun. Can be kind of fun for gameplay reasons, but yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But look, like, these things can be improved with time, right? Alright, never mind. Yeah, so to just finish this off, just like every modern parent, I'm not mad at the game, I'm just disappointed. The game had so much potential to be really cool and unique, but unfortunately it was just botched. And not only did it come out botched, but it never will reach its full potential because, well, you know why.